The turkey was dry. The first thing I noticed when I sat down at my parents' dining table for Thanksgiving dinner. My mother had been bragging about this turkey for 3 days. $1.90 organic free-range bird shidi special ordered from some farm in Vermont, but it was dry as cardboard. I didn't say anything. I'd learned a long time ago that commenting on my mother's cooking, even constructively, was a tactical error that resulted in a 3-hour lecture about gratitude and how I'd never appreciate anything she did for me. So I sat there, cutting my dry turkey into small pieces, listening to my brother Ryan talk about his promotion at the marketing firm. Again? He'd been promoted 6 months ago, but he brought it up at every family gathering like he'd just won a Nobel Prize. $140,000 base salary, Ryan was saying, gesturing with his fork, plus bonuses. I'm thinking about upgrading to a BMW, so MW. The 5 Series, probably? Something that says I've made it, you know? My father beamed. That's my boy. Hard work pays off. My sister, Lauren, chimed in from across the table. Ryan, you should come car shopping with me and Marcus. We're looking at Audis next week. Marcus just got a huge bonus, $35,000. Marcus, Lauren's husband, nodded modestly. It was a good year. We're thinking about upgrading the house too, maybe something in Brookfield. The schools are better there. Smart thinking, my fatter side, family planning, investments, building wealth. That's what it's all about. I took a sip of water and said nothing. Around me, 12 relatives were gathered: my parents, Ryan and his wife Melissa, Lauren and Marcus, my aunt Carol and Uncle Jim, my cousins, Derek and Michelle, and my grandmother, all of them successful, accomplished, eager to talk about their achievements. My mother looked at me. Sarah, you're awfully quiet. How's work? It's fine. Still doing that accounting thing? I'm a CPA, Mom. Yes, I'm still doing accounting. She made a face like I'd told her I cleaned septic tanks for a living. Well, it's steady work, I suppose. Not exciting like Ryan's job, but steady. Ryan smirked. Hey, someone's got to do the boring jobs, right? Melissa, his wife, laughed a little too loudly. She'd been drinking wine since 2 p.m. and was on her 4th glass. Sarah, didn't you drive here in that old Honda? How old is that car now? 7 years. 7 years. She said it like I'd admitted to driving a horse and buggy. Marcus and I trade in our cars every 3 years. Can't imagine driving something that old. It runs fine, I said quietly, but still, Melissa pressed. Don't you want something nicer? Something that reflects your success? I'm comfortable with what I have. My father set down his fork. That's Sarah's problem. No ambition, content to just coast through life in her little apartment with her little car and her little job. My mother nodded. We tried to push her. Lord knows we tried. But some people just don't have that drive, you know? I cut another piece of turkey. It tasted like dust in my mouth. Aunt Carol leaned forward. Sarah, honey, are you still renting that studio apartment? You know, at your age, you really should think about buying property, building equity. I'm fine where I am. But renting is just throwing money away, Uncle Jim added. Look at Ryan, he bought his condo at 26. That's financial planning. Ryan grinned. Best decision I ever made. Property values in my area have gone up 22% since I bought. I'm sitting on serious equity. See? My father gestured at Ryan like he was Exhibit A in a trial about successful children. That's smart thinking. That's planning for the future. Turn it to me. When are you going to stop renting and start investing in yourself? I took a breath. I'm doing fine financially, Dad. Fine isn't great. Fine isn't successful. Fine is what mediocre people settle for. The table went quiet for a moment. My grandmother, who'd been silent up until now, made a small disapproving sound. But she didn't defend me. She never did. My mother started clearing plates. Well, let's not ruin Thanksgiving talking about depressing things. Sarah's doing her best. We can't all be overachievers like Ryan and Lauren. Lauren smiled sweetly. Thanks, Mum. Marcus and I are actually thinking about having another baby. The timing feels right, and with his bonus, we can afford a nanny. Oh, how wonderful! My mother's face lit up. Another grandbaby. Jim, did you hear that? My father was already pulling out his phone to show everyone pictures of Lauren S2, Kids' perfect grandchildren from his perfect daughter. I stood up. I'm going to help with the dishes. No need, my mother said quickly. You'll just get in the way. Why don't you go sit in the living room? Translation, go be invisible somewhere else. I sat back, down. My phone was in my pocket, screen unlocked, the banking app open. I'd pulled it up during Lauren's speech about nannies and bonuses. I was looking at my automatic payment schedule. 5 payments all scheduled to process in the next 72 hours. Payment 1, $2,847 to First National Bank my parents' mortgage. Payment 2, $436 to the City Utility Department my parents' water and electricity. Payment 3, $180 to Comcast my parents' internet and cable. Payment 4, $520 to Ryan's landlord, the family loan he'd never paid back. So I'd been covering his rent differential. Payment 5, $340 to Lauren's Country Club, the membership she'd begged me to help with just for a few months, 3 years ago. Total monthly cost, $4,323. Total paid over 5 years, $259,380. Not one person at this table knew. Not one person had ever said thank you. Dessert was pumpkin pie with fresh whipped cream. My mother brought it out on her best china plates, the ones she'd inherited from her mother. The ones she said were worth $3,000 for the set. Before we eat, my father sighed, standing with his wine glass. I want to make a toast. Everyone raised their glasses. I raised my water. This year has been incredible for our family, he continued. Ryan got his promotion. Lauren and Marcus are thriving. Your mother and I are so proud of what you've all accomplished. We raised you, right, taught you, the value of hard work, financial responsibility, and family. He paused, looking around the table. His eyes skipped over me entirely. We've built something special in this family. A legacy of success. And I'm grateful that most of you have honored that legacy by making something of yourselves. Most of you. He didn't say my name, but everyone knew who he meant. My brother smirked into his wine glass. Lauren looked at me with something between pity and contempt. So, here's to family, my father finished. To success, to the Mitchells who make us proud. Cheers. Everyone chorused. I didn't drink. I set my water glass down carefully and pulled out my phone. My mother noticed. Sarah, put that away. We're having family time. Just checking something, Mom. It can wait. Don't be rude. I looked up at her. Mom, do you know what today is? She frowned. It's Thanksgiving. It's also the 5th anniversary of the first mortgage payment I made on this house. The table went silent. My father's expression shifted from jovial to confused. What are you talking about? November 28, 2019. That's when I made my first payment on your mortgage. $2,847.00. I've made the same payment every month since then. 60 payments total. $170,820.00. My mother's face went pale. That's not. You Haven single quotes. Double quotes. I've been paying your mortgage for 5 years. I've also been paying your utilities, your cable, and internet, Ryan's rent differential, and Lauren's Country Club membership. Ryan set down his fork. Wait, what? Your rent, Ryan. You told me 5 years ago that you were $500 short on rent and about to get evicted. You begged me to help. I've been paying $520 a month to make up your shortfall ever since. His wife, Melissa, turned to stare at him. You said you got a raise that covered the rent increase. I did. I mean, double quotes. Lauren's face was red. You said you were paying my country club. You asked me to help for just a few months while Marcus was between jobs. That was in January 2022. It is November 2024. IV paid $9,180 for your golf and tennis privileges. My father slammed his hand on the table. This is ridiculous. You haven't been paying our mortgage. I've been paying our mortgage. No, Dad, you haven't. 5 years ago, you called me in a panic. You said you'd made some bad investments and you were going to lose the house. You begged me to help temporarily, just 6 months, you said, until you recovered. You made me promise not to tell anyone because you didn't want the family to know you'd made mistakes. I pulled up my banking app and turned the screen toward him. Here's every transaction, every payment to First National Bank. 5 years worth. Would you like me to read them out loud? My mother's hand was over her mouth. Jim, is this true? My father couldn't look at her. We were going through a rough patch. The market was down. I didn't want to worry everyone. So you let Sarah pay our mortgage for 5 years and then called her useless in front of the entire family. I didn't know she was still paying it. I thought she'd stopped after the first year and I'd taken back over. You thought wrong, I said. My voice was eerily calm. I've been paying it the entire time. Along with your utilities, along with helping Ryan and Lauren, because that's what family does, right? We help each other. Aunt Carol was staring at me. Sarah, how could you afford ... I mean, you're just an accountant ... I'm a CPA. With my own firm, I said quietly. I have 43 clients, most of them small businesses and high net worth individuals. Uncle Jim choked on his wine. I own my apartment paid cash. No mortgage. I own my car outright. I have $480,000 in investment accounts and another $190,000 in savings. I'm doing fine financially. My mother was crying now. Why didn't you tell us? Because you never ask. You assumed I was struggling because I do undebrig about my money or drive a luxury car or buy designer handbags. You assumed I was mediocre because I'm quiet. I looked at my father. And because the one time I tried to talk to you about my business 3 years ago at Christmas, you cut me off after 30 seconds and changed the subject to Ryan's promotion. So I stopped trying. Ryan was staring at his plate. Melissa was staring at Ryan, her expression murderous. Lauren spoke up, her voice small. Sarah, I didn't know you were still paying the club membership. I thought you'd stopped after the first year. I would have canceled it if I'd known. Would you have? Or would you have just let it continue because it was convenient? She didn't answer. I looked around the table. 12 faces staring at me, some shocked, some ashamed, some still processing. Here's what's going to happen now, I said. I tapped my phone screen. I'm canceling all 5 automatic payments. The mortgage payment that was supposed to process on Friday, canceled. The utility payment scheduled for Tuesday, canceled. Ryan's rent, Lauren's club membership, the cable bill, all canceled. My mother gasped. Sarah, you can't. I can, and I am. You called me useless. Dead. You said I was mediocre, that I had no ambition, that I was an embarrassment to the family. So I am going to stop doing the one thing I've been doing to help carrying your financial burden while you mocked me for not being successful enough. My father's face went from red to white. Sarah, be reasonable. We can't afford the mortgage without. You should have thought about that before you spent the last 5 years treating me like a failure. You should have thought about that before you toasted to the Mitchells who make us proud and deliberately excluded me. I stood up. I'm leaving now. I'm going to go home to my paid-off apartment and my reliable car and my little job. And you're going to figure out how to pay your own bills? My phone buzzed. Then my father's phone buzzed. Then my mother's phone. My father looked at his screen. His face went gray. It's the bank. They're saying next month's mortgage payment was canceled. They're asking if there's a problem. My mother's phone buzzed again. The utility company. They're saying our automatic payment was declined. Ryan's phone lit up. My landlord is texting. He's saying the payment from my account bounced. He looked up at me. Wait, you were paying directly to my landlord? I thought you were just giving me money, and I was. You weren't paying your rent at all, were you? Melissa's voice was ice. You were pocketing the money from our joint account that I thought was going to rent, and Sarah was actually paying the landlord." Ryan's silence was answer enough. Lauren's phone buzzed. "The country club. They're saying our membership is being cancelled for non." I picked up my purse. "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you for the lovely dinner and the even lovelier reminder of my place in this family." My grandmother spoke for the first time since dessert. "Sarah, wait." I turned to look at her. "You're a good girl," she said quietly. "Better than they deserve. Don't let them manipulate you into fixing this." "I won't, Grandma." "Good. Come visit me on Sunday. Just you and me. I'll make soup." I nodded. "I'd like that." Then I walked out. I sat in my Honda in my parents' driveway for 5 minutes, waiting for my hands to stop shaking. My phone was exploding with texts. "Mom, please don't do this. We can talk about this. We can fix this." "Dad, Sarah, this is childish. You're going to put your mother and me on the street over something I said in anger." "Ryan, seriously, you're going to screw me over because your feelings are hurt." "Lauren, can we please talk about this like adults?" I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and drove home. My apartment was quiet, peaceful. I'd decorated it, myself soft grays and blues, plants in every room, art on the walls from local artists I'd discovered at farmers markets. I made tea and sat on my couch, looking out at the city lights. My phone was still buzzing despite Do Not Disturb emergency contacts could get through, and apparently my mother had recently designated herself as one. I turned it off completely. The calls started again Saturday morning. I let them all go to voicemail. Dad's voicemail. "Sarah, I spoke with the bank. They're saying we're in danger of foreclosure if we miss next month's payment. You can't let this happen. This is our home. Your mother is beside herself. Call me back." Mom's voicemail. "Honey, please. I'm sorry for what we said. We didn't mean it. We're under a lot of stress. The mortgage is $2,847 a month, and we don't have it. Huh? We need you. Please, call back." Ryan's voicemail. "Look, I'm sorry, I've been a jerk, but my landlord is threatening to evict me if December's rent isn't paid in full. I can't afford $2,400 a month on my own." Melissa is furious. She's talking about separating. "Please, Sarah? I'll pay you back. I swear." Lauren's voicemail. "Sarah, it's me. I know you're mad. Get Italiano. But, can we talk?" Marcus is asking questions about money and I don't know what to tell him. Please pick up. I deleted all of them and went to the gym. Sunday, I went to my grandmother's house. She lived in a small cottage she'd paid off decades ago, simple, tidy, filled with photographs of people who'd actually treated her well over the years. She made chicken noodle soup from scratch, the kind that takes 4 hours and fills the whole house with the smell of comfort. "Your mother called me," she said as we ate. "She's desperate. She wants me to convince you to change your mind." "What did you tell her?" "I told her I raised her better than to bite the hand that feeds her. And if she's too stupid to appreciate your help, she doesn't deserve it." I smiled. "How did she take that?" "About as well as you'd expect. Lots of crying about how I was taking sides and how could I be so cruel." Grandma stirred her soup. "I told her I wasn't taking sides. I was taking the side of common decency. There's a difference." "Thank you, Grandma." "Don't thank me. I'm ashamed of how they treated you. I'm ashamed I didn't speak up sooner." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Your grandfather would have been proud of you. He always said you had steel in your spine." "I miss Grandpa. He'd be furious if he knew what they did. He'd also tell you not to cave. So, I'm telling you, for him, don't cave. I won't." "Good," she smiled. "Now, tell me about your business. Really, tell me. I want to hear everything." So I did. I told her about my clients, about the business I'd built from scratch, about the satisfaction of helping small business owners navigate their finances and grow their companies. I told her about the real estate investments I'd made, about my retirement accounts, about my plans to expand the firm. She listened to everything, asked questions, nodded in all the right places. When I finished, she said, "You did this all on your own." "Yes. No help from your parents. None." "Then you owe them nothing. Remember that?" The texts continued all week. My father sent me copies of foreclosure warnings. My mother sent me pictures of herself crying. Ryan sent me angry messages about how I was ruining his life. Lauren sent me guilt trips about family loyalty. I didn't respond to any of them. On Wednesday, my father showed up at my office. My assistant buzzed me. "Sarah, there's a Jim Mitchell here to see you. He says he's your father. He doesn't have an appointment. Tell him I'm with a client. He's saying it's an emergency." I sighed. "Give me 5 minutes, then send him in." My father entered my office looking like he'd aged 5 years in 1 week. His eyes were bloodshot, his hair uncombed, his shirt wrinkled. "Sarah, thank God. We need to talk. I'm working, Dad. This can't wait. The bank is threatening foreclosure. We got a letter today if we don't make a payment by December 5th. They're starting the foreclosure process. That's unfortunate." "Unfortunate? Sarah, we're going to lose our house." "You're going to lose your house because you can't afford the mortgage. That's not my problem. How can you say that? We're your parents. You're the people who called me useless in front of 12 relatives. You're the people who toasted to everyone's success except mine. You're the people who spent 5 years taking my money while treating me like an embarrassment." He slumped into the chair across from my desk. "We didn't know you were still paying. I swear, Sarah. I thought I'd taken the payments back over years ago." "You didn't. You just stopped checking because it was easier to assume I'd keep doing it. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Please, we'll do anything." "Anything." "Yes, anything." I leaned back in my chair. "Apologize. Publicly send a message to the entire family explaining that I've been financially supporting you for 5 years while you mocked me for being unsuccessful." His face went red. "I can't do that. That's humiliating." "More humiliating than calling your daughter useless at Thanksgiving dinner?" "That's different." "No, Dad, it's not. You want my help? You want me to save your house. Then you'll admit the truth to everyone who watched you belittle me." He stood up. "This is blackmail. This is consequences. Welcome to them." He left without another word. Friday, my mother tried. She met me outside my apartment building as I was coming home from work. "Sarah, please reconsider. We're going to lose everything. You're going to lose a house you couldn't afford. That's not everything. Where will we live? You'll figure it out. Rent an apartment. Downsize. Do what every other person does when they live beyond their means. But we're in our 60s. We can't just start over. I started over at 23 with $40,000 in student loans and no help from anyone. You'll survive." She started crying. "How can you be so cruel?" "I'm not being cruel, Mom. I'm being exactly as supportive as you've been to me for 28 years. How does it feel? We're your parents. We raised you. We deserve. You deserve nothing. You deserve exactly what you gave me: judgment, dismissal, and contempt. The fact that I gave you 5 years of financial support instead is more than you earned, Sarah. I'm begging you, Mom. I spent my entire childhood begging for your approval. Begging you to notice me. Begging you to see me as something other than the disappointing child who wasn't Ryan or Lauren. You ignored every single request. Now you know how that feels." I walked past her into my building. December 15th came and went. The bank started foreclosure proceedings. My parents had 30 days to vacate. Ryan got evicted from his apartment. He and Melissa separated. Turns out she'd had no idea he'd been lying about their finances for 5 years. She got custody of their apartment and most of their savings. Lauren's husband Marcus found out about the country club payments. He also found out about several other small loans Lauren had taken from me over the years, loans she'd never mentioned to him. They started marriage counseling. My phone kept buzzing with desperate messages, angry messages, pleading messages. I blocked all of them except my grandmother's number. Then, On December 20th, I got an email. The subject line was Public Apology. I opened it. It had been sent to every family member's email address, everyone who'd been at Thanksgiving dinner, plus a few extra cousins and relatives I hadn't seen in years. The message read, "To war family, Jim and I need to make a public acknowledgement and apology. For the past 5 years, our daughter Sarah has been paying our mortgage, utilities, and other bills. She did this quietly, without asking for recognition or thanks. During this entire time, we treated her as if she was unsuccessful and mediocre. We mocked her at family gatherings. We dismissed her accomplishments. We called her useless. The truth is that Sarah has been more successful than any of us knew. She owns her own CPA firm, earns a substantial income, and has been supporting us financially while we belittled her. We weary roan way. We weary crow. We took advantage of her generosity and repaid it with contempt. Sarah has every right to be angry with us. She has every right to withdraw her support. We are facing foreclosure because we not afford to maintain the lifestyle we've been living, a lifestyle Sarah made possible. We're sorry, Sarah. We're sorry to the entire family for lying about our financial situation and for treating our daughter so poorly when she deserved our gratitude and respect. We don't know if we can fix this, but we wanted everyone to know the truth. Jim and Diane Mitchell." The email had been sent 15 minutes ago. My phone was already lighting up with texts from relatives. "Aunt Carol, Sarah, I had no idea. I'm so sorry for what I said. Uncle Jim, we all owe you an apology. What you did for your parents was incredible. Cousin Derek, holy shit, Sarah. You've been paying their mortgage for 5 years, and they treated you like that?" I sat on my couch, staring at the email, feeling nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, just exhaustion. My phone rang, my mother's number. I answered. "Did you send that email because you actually mean it, or because you think it'll get me to resume payments?" Her voice was hoarse. "Both. I mean it, Sarah. I really do. But yes, we're also desperate. The bank gave us until January 15th. After that, we're out." "Where will you go?" "We found a 2-bedroom apartment. $1,800 a month. We can afford that, with Dad's Social Security and pension." "Barely, but we can manage." "Then you'll be fine. Sarah, I know we don't deserve your help. I know we were horrible to you. But is there any way? Is there any possibility you could help us just one more time? Just enough to stop the foreclosure. We could sell the house, settle with the bank, maybe even have a little equity left over." I was quiet for a long moment. "I'll think about it," I said finally. "Really?" "I'll think about it. That's all I'm promising." I hung up. On Christmas Eve, I visited my grandmother again. We sat by her fireplace, drinking hot chocolate, watching It's a Wonderful Life on her old TV. "Did you see your parents' email?" she asked. "I saw it." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet." She nodded. "Whatever you decide, I'll support you. If you want to help them one last time, that's your choice. If you want to let them face the consequences, that's also your choice. Both are valid. What would you do?" She thought about it. "I'd probably give them one final payment, just enough to stop the foreclosure and give them time to sell. Not because they deserve it, but because you'd sleep better knowing you tried everything. But I'd make it crystal clear that this is the last time. Ever. That's what I've been thinking too. Then do it. But do it on your terms." On December 27th, I sent my father an email. "Dad, I'll give you one final payment, $10,000. That should be enough to bring the mortgage current and stop the foreclosure proceedings. You'll have time to sell the house and settle your debts. This is the last money you'll ever receive from me. I'm not punishing you. I'm simply stopping a pattern that should never have started. Use this time to downsize and build a life you can actually afford. Learn to live within your means. Stop comparing yourself to people who make more money or have bigger houses. And maybe, someday, actually ask me about my life instead of assuming you know everything about it." Sarah, I transferred the money that afternoon. My father called me immediately. "Sarah, thank you. Thank you so much. We won't forget this. You're welcome. Use it wisely. We will. And Sarah, I really am sorry. Your mother and we're going to do better. We're going to be the parents you deserved. I hope so, Dad. I really do. It's been 6 months since that Thanksgiving dinner. My parents sold their house in March for $520,000. After settling with the bank and paying off other debts, they had about $80,000 left. They used it as a down payment on a small condo, something they can actually afford on their retirement income. Ryan moved back in with them temporarily. He got a second job to cover his actual rent at a cheaper apartment. He's no longer with Melissa. He sends me apologetic texts every few weeks. I don't respond. Lauren and Marcus are still together. They downsized their lives, significantly smaller house, no country club, 1 car instead of 2. Lauren got a part-time job. She emails me occasionally with updates. I respond politely, but briefly. My grandmother still makes me soup every Sunday. My business is thriving. I hired 2 more CPAs and expanded into a larger office. Revenue is up 34% from last year. I drove past my parents' old house last week. There's a young family living there now. I could see kids' toys in the yard, a dog barking in the window. The house looks happy in a way it never did when my parents lived there. I still drive my Honda. It runs fine. I still live in my paid-off apartment. It's comfortable and mine, and I sleep well at night, knowing I did the right thing both in helping my family when they needed it and in walking away when they took advantage of it. Sometimes doing the right thing means saying no. Sometimes it means setting boundaries. Sometimes it means letting people face the consequences of their own actions. I learned that lesson the hard way, but at least I learned it.